H12B Georgia, how you doing, brother? I'm glad you're here. You may be the only one in here tonight. My numbers have been so low that they're like a snake's belly in a wagon rut, to be honest with you. They've dropped by about 75%. I don't know if it's YouTube. I don't know what it is. And I don't know if it's me. But anyway, thank you, 12B Georgia, for being here. To catch it on the replay, I want you to hit the like button, hit the bell icon so you'll know when I go live. If you hit that bell icon, then you don't have to worry about YouTube putting out notifications. Hopefully you'll get notified anyway. So 12B, thank you for being here, brother. My PayPal probably won't be anywhere in the chat, and that's just fine with me. So we're done with that. I want to start this show tonight. I want to talk about something that's really confusing me. We have a ship, 1,000-bed ship.
Hang on one sec, Bobby. Sorry.
Okay. We have 1,000.
Good. You're good.
We have 1,000-bed ship on the West Coast, and we have 1,000-bed ship on the East Coast. The Mercy is in California, and the USS Comfort will take trauma cases in New York to free up room at the hospitals for coronavirus patients. Now, wait a minute. Let me explain these ships, these medical ships. The USS Comfort sailed into New York Harbor and up the Hudson about 2 weeks ago, and it docked there for several days. I have a YouTube friend who lives right in that area, and they drove down and they saw that ship there docked, stayed there for 2 or 3 days and left. Well, it was gone. It sailed south. We don't know where it went, but it sailed back to New York Harbor, and they made a big deal out of it that it was in the harbor and it was going to go up the Hudson and all this stuff, but it had already done that 2 weeks prior. And they were trying to make it sound like this was the first time and it was something new. More propaganda, that's all I'm trying to say. But the thing about these ships are trauma ships. They can't be outfitted for disease control or pandemics and things like that. They're not set up for that. They're set up for trauma. So the story they're putting out is this. They're saying that they're going to take trauma patients from the hospitals and put them on these medical ships, these Navy ships, the USS Mercy and the USS Comfort, and there they'll receive their trauma care. Okay. Well, if you look at all of the hospitals in that New York area there, I don't think you'll come up with 1,000 trauma patients. You'll probably come up with quite a few hundred, no doubt. But I don't think you're going to fill the ship up just with trauma patients. So I wonder what they're doing with that. If they allow one positive case of coronavirus on either one of these ships, it's over. It's over. They're useless. Those ships will no longer be worth the water they're sitting in. Mm-hmm. Because everything is going to go straight downhill from there if they have one case. So if they had a case, John, I ask you, would they even report it?
No.
Or would they just hide it? I want to know why the USS Comfort was on the Hudson River a few days ago and then left. Now they're acting as if it's just a brand new thing, and it's great, man. It's sailing up the Hudson. But where did it go and why did it leave? That's what I want to know. Where did it go and why did it return a few days later? The ship's crew were on board, but no medical workers were on board on the first trip up the Hudson. And that's a fact. So I wonder now, are they manned by medical staff? They haven't said that. We know they're manned by a crew because they sail.
Right.
But that's just the way it is. And I know we've got a lot of good stuff to get in tonight. Hello, Tam J. Hello, Scarecrow 12B. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to pass it over to you, John, and I'm going to let you bring up a topic. We've got so many. So whichever one you want to hit on first, let's have at it.
All right. Well, seeing how we're talking about the coronavirus, we'll work on that. We'll stay on that right now.
Okay.
Hang on one sec here. As usual, computer's slow. This is how sad things have become. over this coronavirus. This is in England. There is a blue lagoon over there that everybody goes to take photos and hang out.
Yeah.
And the cops figured that, people weren't listening to the quarantine. So they went and they dumped gallons of black dye into this lagoon to deter the people from coming and taking pictures. Just wreck the ecosystem. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal.
Yeah. And from what I understand, that was probably one of the most beautiful inland lagoons that you could see in all of Europe.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
So
and they just destroyed it.
Yep.
It was a lagoon formed from a rock quarry with the bottom falling out and filling up with water. So there probably weren't any fish to speak of in there, except for maybe some small minnows or stuff. That's funny. You ever seen people build a lake and they don't stock their lake?
Yeah.
You go back there 20 years later and you got catfish and bass and all kind of stuff in the lake.
Yeah.
How'd it get there? A lot of it came from birds eating the fish and pooping them out before they even died.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them get picked up by tornadoes and winds, and they get rained down. But yeah, anyway, that's my immaterial there. But that Blue Lagoon was a beautiful thing that they had to destroy.
Yeah. DOJ has come out and said that those intentionally spreading the coronavirus can be charged with bioterrorism. Well, all right.
Yes.
I guess Bill Gates is going to prison then, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. That's just for us.
It doesn't apply to him.
Sorry.
It doesn't apply to him.
Yeah, it's just us low-life peasants. I'm sorry. Didn't mean any of them. That's just for us.
Yeah, it's not for them. We have a two-tier system here.
Yeah, sorry, I was using my outside voice. Again. A couple other things going on. Good old Northrum. We'll change the subject for a second. Old Blackface himself has ordered all Trump campaign headquarters closed in Virginia.
Yeah, imagine that. Trump headquarters
didn't have enough ink left to say if the Democrats' headquarters were going to be closed because there was no comment on it. But all of Trump's campaign headquarters have been closed in Virginia.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Let's see here. I want to mention something about these mayors and these governors.
Yeah.
Across the country. I've been reading up on them, and these guys, I mean, they're acting like dictators. They're total tyrants. These mayors and these governors across the United States are emboldened. And if they'll do the kind of stuff over this coronavirus, imagine what they'll do over the next crisis or non-crisis. All it's doing is emboldening them to know that they can control you with dubious legality. And every American should be appalled that we allow this to happen. Absolutely. This is nothing but panic hype and fear-mongering Americans. And, people are facing jail for going to church.
Yeah.
So what's it come to in this country? Is it going to be total control, a total U.S. shutdown? It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, they're already rioting over in China.
And Italy.
Yeah, I watched some video today. They were flipping over police cars and they were flipping over a bus. In Italy, they're smashing windows and stuff. Now we've got the
hey Chris, like Phil C.
The president of the Red Cross says big U.S. cities only have a few weeks until social unrest and riots surface.
Yeah, so, I've heard that. And they also say that we're going to have 100 to 200,000 deaths. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But
hey, Benny, how you doing? Linda Carter, glad to see you. Thank you guys for being here.
Then on the other side of that is answer me why doctors and nurses are getting arrested for coming out and speaking the truth on the virus.
Because they don't want the truth to get out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
People need to get pissed.
Well, no, according to them, you need to get with the program.
Oh no! Oh
You
no!
know,
No!
and just be a good little doctor or nurse or
Yeah.
policeman or whoever you are, and just do what we tell you to do. It'll be okay in the end. Don't think about it. Just do what we tell you. And that's what they want. They want robots.
Yeah.
They don't want people, free thinkers. You know, people can see through their lies and deceit and how they're trying to con us on this whole deal.
Yeah. It's people have got to wake up here. Got to wake up.
People have to understand this is bioterrorism, plain and simple. You know, it's
well, they've admitted it now because you can be charged with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So for all those that said it isn't a bioweapon, now all of a sudden you can be charged with a bioweapon.
Exactly.
Think about that.
Yeah, if you invade somebody's 6 foot space and you sneeze for calls, well, guess what? You can be arrested for bioterrorism. Now, isn't that something great to be able to walk down the street and have to cough? And if somebody sees you, then you're going to go to jail. That's really good. That's what we need. Just lock everybody up, let all the prisoners out of jail, empty our jails and our prisons, and let's lock up American patriots. You know, let's lock up those that just don't conform to their way of destruction.
But in the meantime, we got to let the rapists and the home invaders and the carjackers out.
And the child molesters and everybody else.
You don't want them getting the virus.
No.
You know, those poor things.
Yeah.
But let's lock up the people that are fighting this. So.
But it is funny, John. You know, I'm not a fearmonger at all about this coronavirus.
No.
I'll be honest with you. It's beyond my scope to really know what's happening. You know, I can only try to figure it out like you. But we had, according to the numbers, our numbers doubled in 24 hours here in Georgia.
Yeah.
Our cases. I mean, they just doubled overnight.
And that's because of the testing. They're testing more.
Yeah. So we're going to find more and more cases every day.
Yeah. Now, you know, if what's happening doesn't frost your cookies, people, what I'm going to tell you next should, and if it doesn't, then I don't know why you're here. Trump has said that when this is all said and done, there was going to be over 6,000 patents released for cures that the government and the pharmaceutical companies have been holding back.
Like maybe cancer?
Well, I went digging today, and this is what I came up with. And if you want the patent numbers, I've got them. They have the cure for Ebola, the swine flu, AIDS, and a cure for cancer.
Imagine that.
The CDC owns one of the patents for the Ebola virus.
Oh, that's really great. You know, I only live about 30 miles from the CDC headquarters. I don't go down that way, though.
So think about that, people. Think about that.
Oh, tell us about what you were saying about Trump. You were telling me earlier that he did what with the Fed?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it too much because I haven't confirmed it. But apparently the Fed, Trump has taken over the Fed and he's blended it in with the Treasury Department. The Fed is going to stay open for a year to collect their toilet paper, basically. That's all it's worth back.
Right.
And then we're going to a new currency.
The rainbow currency, I believe.
He's calling it the rainbow currency, which I don't know.
Oh, my God.
I don't know.
I don't like nothing with rainbows on it.
Yeah. So I've got to look more into that. I don't want to say too much in case, but a lot of people are coming out and talking about it. So there's definitely something to it. We'll just have to wait and see. There are some good things going on. You know, when these patents come out, it'll be a relief to the people, but then there's going to be anger. I personally have lost a lot of good friends to cancer.
Yes.
No freaking reason.
Now, they've had it for years.
Exactly. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat too that either know people or, you know, have lost people to it. for no freaking reason while these people sit on this and chuckle. I've got to dig it up. There's a video that they said was just released between Bill Gates and Vanderbilt joking about people dying of the coronavirus.
Sure. I don't doubt that a bit. I don't doubt that.
In their eyes, there's not enough people dying from it.
Yeah, of course. And that all goes back to, the Illuminati and the Freemasons and the Georgia Guidestones and all these other places around the world that tell us they want to reduce our population.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Every bit of this is about depopulation.
And you know what? I agree.
I
agree. Let's start with Bill and Melinda Gates. There's two less.
There you go, Tom. Throw Tom Hanks and Hillary in there, too.
All the pedophiles.
Oh, Lord, you just took up half of Congress and half of Hollywood.
I don't care. Get rid of them. You want population control? I agree.
I agree. And then it makes me wonder, fighting event, it makes me wonder if things do go bad. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to go bad, but there's always a possibility. There's two sides of everything, and if it did, who's going to fight and who's going to run?
I don't know.
Now, how many of these so-called patriots, I'm gonna fight and stand? Well, are you really?
Well,
when the time comes,
I think we're going to see, and that's history repeats itself. I think we're going to see the 3% again.
Well, while we're talking about this, I was shocked fighting a fan when I saw these numbers. You and I were talking before the show, and we just thought for a second, well, I'll just check the numbers. If they wanted to bring all the military home from overseas, bring them all home to the continental United States and Alaska and Hawaii, we have 1,380,895 active duty military right now. I had no idea we had over 1 million man army. I knew we had a lot, but I didn't think we had that many. And then we've got 1.1 million reservists. So now that makes it 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going to add 50,000 National Guard, which really doesn't change the numbers, but we're talking 2.5 million military that could be put in our states and in our neighborhoods. And I broke it down at those numbers. That would be 40,000 military men and women in your state.
Yeah.
Every state could have 40,000 military in their state. Doing what? Doing what?
Yeah.
That's my question.
I really think this is definitely a trial run. In Texas, they've got the National Guard going door to door unarmed, which is a smart move on their behalf. Checking on people. Now Rhode Island's doing it. Rhode Island actually is hunting down people with New York plates.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It started out in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island governor is using military to hunt down New Yorkers escaping to Rhode Island. Imagine that. They're escaping to Rhode Island. All right. Yeah. They're not traveling. They're escaping. And by the order of the governor, it will be enforced. And they will be quarantined by force if necessary. And also door-to-door searches are going to be made to make sure that you don't have any New Yorkers in your home. Do you see how invasive this is, John?
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a $500 fine and 90 days in jail for uncompliance. Well, under the Fourth Amendment, having a New York license plate is not and cannot constitute probable cause for a stop. You can't interrogate somebody, forcibly detain them, and quarantine them just because they're from New York.
Yeah.
This is profiling at its best.
Yeah.
But Florida, South Carolina, Texas, and Maryland said stay away or be forced to quarantine. So they're talking the same thing.
Florida, apparently up in the Panhandle, they're actually at the state line doing roadblocks, from what I've been told.
And people aren't reporting on this.
I know.
Maybe they're staying home like everybody tells them to, and this stuff is just going on unseen. See, that's what they're doing while they got you at home with your kids. They're going out to their schools and putting in 5G. They're setting up roadblocks. They're checking people. They're coming to their houses. I mean, they're going above and beyond their call.
Yeah.
And the coronavirus is nothing but a cover.
Yep. Two things. TMJ, yes. They're actually not just New Yorkers. They're doing that to everybody right now. They got approval for that. They're watching everybody's phone and seeing how close people are. And Rob called, valid point. You know, the Democrats fought against any wall. God forbid. We didn't want to violate the rights of the illegals. But, oh, geez, the American people are sick. Lock them down. Don't let them cross city lines or state lines. Are you kidding me? Really? How much longer do you people think we're going to put up with this crap?
That's right. How much longer? It ain't going to be long.
It's not.
But I do want to say one thing Luciano said. He's talking to you.
Yeah, I seen that. I answered him.
I listened to an interview that mentioned a capsule that deteriorated a tumor after 24 hours. Crooked Pharma immediately shut the guy down who presented the drug. Of course they shut him down. They want it all.
Luciano, don't be surprised if that guy doesn't commit suicide out of depression from it.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Mark Miller and Donnie, Chris Link, Jeff B, Rob Call. We appreciate you guys coming, man. I'll tell you, the numbers here lately have just been in the gutter.
They're slamming us, guys. Big time.
None of my notifications ever go out, ever. Nope. It's just the way YouTube is, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they play with my numbers like you wouldn't believe.
Chris Link, unbelievable BS going on. Absolutely. That we're getting to the point, people, where you got to start asking yourself, how much more are we going to put up with? Because soon we're not going to have a chance or choice. It's going to be all done. It really is. You know, Trump's doing what he can, but he's solo. He's still got a lot of evil people inside.
He does.
Of Captain Kenya leftovers. You know, it's crazy. It really is. Yeah, Tam, exactly.
Well, here's something.
It's not a good thing. You know, I wish I could get people to do? Take their phones and shut them the hell off for a couple of weeks. Blow everybody's mind. They would be so confused they wouldn't know what to do with us. Listen, I start doing that now. I'll leave my phone home when I take off.
I've got to doing that as well. If I go out and work in the yards or whatever, I just shut it off.
Yeah.
Leave it on the table. Or if I go to the store, I don't take it, or wherever I have to go.
You know what must be comical is get a couple hundred phones, leave them on, and put them in the back of a trailer truck, send it out to the Midwest, and they'll go nuts following this thing.
I didn't know if you've heard about this or not, but in just the last few days, there's been over 650 racist attacks on Asian Americans just because they're Asian American. The FBI says they're making this a top priority because it's nationwide, and Asian American communities as a whole say the police are in danger. They say the whole communities are in danger because you got what Little China in LA and all that kind of stuff, or Little Hong Kong, whatever, and you've got these Asians all across America, and in some of these. And I'm not going to deny it. There are racist groups out there. There are white supremacist groups, yes. But John and I are not part of that. We're not part of any clique.
You know, this is what I fear is people are going after the Asians. What the hell did they do? It's not their fault. It's like blaming us for what Obama did. It's not our fault.
Right.
People, if you're going to rise up and do something, aim your frustrations at the right people. Figure out who did it. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's all you can do, and not blame the innocent ones just because it's easy.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. Listen. By doing that, they are winning. I learned a long time ago that if they keep us divided, they win. If we're all together as one, they lose. And it's
been like that.
Biggest fear.
Yep. It's been like that since the beginning of time.
Yeah, that is their biggest fear, is if we all get together, they know it's game over for all of them.
Well, that's why, we learn in the military, we're all for one and one for all. It's we just got to get smart, people. We've got to, wake up. We've got to wake up and start seeing the things that are going on around us that we're not even paying attention to. It's just going on right in front of our eyes, and we don't even know it.
Yep. Rob called. I wouldn't trust any 3-letter alphabet group.
No, none of them
at all.
They're all deep state.
Listen, like I said, I have the patent numbers. You'd be amazed how many patents the CDC owns and how many people in America have died from those diseases.
Sure.
Think about that. Listen, the blacks, the whites, the Hispanics, the Chinese, they're not our enemies. They're us. The elites, the cabal, the politicians, they're our enemies.
That's right. They are our enemy. And I'm talking about the Hollywood elite, the government elite, the rich elite, and the elite around the world.
Yep. All over.
It's I'll tell you, it upsets me. It really does. That there are so many evil people out there, and we, as a nation, don't say anything about it collectively. We've got little pockets of people like us sitting around watching YouTube talking about all this stuff, saying, how can this happen?
Listen,
but nobody's doing anything about it.
I gave up my career because of this stuff.
Right.
So come on, people. It's time. Listen, it's time to pull up the bootstraps and get ready. Yeah. It really is, because they're just going to continue to run roughshod over it. And, for most of us on here, it'll only affect us for a while because we're older. But our kids and our grandkids are going to pay for this dearly. And I mean dearly if we don't do something.
Oh, yeah.
I really feel for the upcoming generations.
Well, I've lived long enough to see many, many, many miracle changes that have taken place during my lifetime. I can't imagine what my grandchildren, when they're my age, are going to be experiencing and going through if we live that long. If we don't kill ourselves first, which is a good likability.
Yeah. Bobby, let me bring up one thing.
Sure.
Donnie Newman just mentioned, she was talking to Rob Call. You can't judge the whole agency by a few bad guys. Donnie, that's correct. But one thing that I learned in all my years of doing this, and I worked with a lot of those agencies, is there is a lot of bad, and the good guys either shut their mouths to collect their pension or they leave.
Because the bad guys are at the top.
And the good guys that have left have been replaced by bad guys.
Yeah.
They really have. Listen.
I mean, look at the top. Look at McCabe and Comey and Clapper and Brennan. I mean, my God, the most corrupt demon rats on earth. And here they were, in 3-letter agencies.
When it starts at the bottom, they get caught. But when it starts at the top, it trickles its way down. And that's the part that's sad. Because they put on the blinders to a lot of things, and they shouldn't.
Yep.
And I seen it. Before I left, it was terrible. It really was.
Oh, Phil C. said that Yahoo ran an article saying that we white supremacists have plans to spread the coronavirus.
Beautiful.
Wow, how about that?
Beautiful.
And Donnie Newman says they have different departments in every agency, so no one in the agency knows what the other one's doing, and that's probably true. Yeah.
There you go.
Right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
That's the way we kept it.
Mark Miller says he worked a case with the ATF a while back. He said he won't do that again.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Mark, man, I tell you what, I'd love to talk to you again on the phone, man. You got a great job. I'd love to be an investigator.
Mark, I did ATF and DEA. I worked with U.S. Marshals. The funniest one is the IRS. Those guys. You want to talk about a group of idiots. Oh, my goodness.
Philip Turner said, we're on the verge of a very dismal plain if food producers get sick, we may all be screwed sick or not.
Yeah.
And you're right, Donnie. Every government around the world has been infiltrated through blackmail, bribery, payoffs, and everything else. You got that right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys participating in the chat. That's really great, man.
Think about this, guys. All right, the coronavirus is going on. Have we heard anything about ISIS?
Not a word. Have you heard anything about MS-13?
Have we heard anything about Antifa, BLM?
No.
Where'd they go? Did they just go home?
No.
Think about this. Do you realize that? There's always some sort of chaos going on in this country and around the world.
Right. Even or the border.
Yeah.
My God, something.
Yeah. What the Mexican people say, you know what? We're not going up there. We're going home. I mean, think about it, guys. Really. There's something wrong here.
Yeah. It'd be great. That's fine. I'd like to see a great migration back across the southern border.
Yeah, but you won't, though, because Pelosi just made sure in the bill that they just passed.
Don't tell me they're giving them money.
$300 million for the
illegals?
To the illegals.
Oh, my Lord.
$300 million. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of it. Those cute little $1,200 checks they're sending out to us to save us?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
to pacify us.
In order to do that, they gave themselves a $2,500 a year or $25,000 a year raise.
Yeah. They just sort of slid that in the legislation.
Yeah.
And they also sent $10 million to Africa.
Yes. Yeah, that's another thing.
Also in that bill.
Think about that. They're sending $10 million to Africa. They're saying Africa is going to be completely wiped out by this coronavirus.
Yeah, in time, sure.
So what would they be sending $10 million to Africa for? Oh, that's right. The Communist Chinese Party is in Africa.
Yeah.
And they actually have headquarters and stations down there, military stations.
How about that?
Are we still playing this game?
Well, if we're playing that game, then let's talk about the game they're playing in Venezuela. They're playing the same game. They're sitting out there offshore with their ships and their aircraft carriers and their warships and everything else out in the ocean there a few miles off of Venezuela's east coast.
Yeah, that's Luciano. Another thing, not a word about climate change.
Tam J says she's heard that the rest of those groups are going on. I hope so, Tam. I hope so.
Yeah, and you're right, Tam, about the upper one, the white supremacists and the Illuminati and all them. They're all funded by the same people. Literally, before Virginia happened, if you look back on Craigslist, you could find the job search for that.
Oh, yeah, they were going to pay, what, $15 an hour? Or
protesters and $25 an hour for agitators.
Yeah. And if you go to jail, you get a bonus.
Yeah.
As well as being bonded out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but they've been doing that all along. They've been taking busloads of protesters around the country to protest. And it's all Soros funded and cabal funded.
Yeah. Jeff B, they still won't say if they say people with disability will get a stimulus check. Yeah, valid point, isn't it? That goes to show you what they worry about. And it isn't you, Jeff, and 12B and whoever. It's not any of us.
12B. Actually, they have. I don't remember the first two numbers. It's like a USC 1099 or something like that. I can't remember the letters. But they send those out every year to disability and Social Security recipients. And if you have that form, it looks just like a 1099 you would get from an employer, except it lists your disability payment. If you have one of those, you will receive a check if you're on disability or Social Security, if you have that.
Good.
And if you don't, well, you should have it. Everybody should have gotten one. So if you didn't throw it in the garbage, you're all right. So I still have mine for the last 3 or 4 years, but I can thank my 88-year-old mother for that because she don't throw nothing away.
Yeah.
I was doing a census. We got our census forms. Has anybody else got their census forms? Well, I wasn't going to fill it out, to be honest with you. I was just going to throw it in the trash. But my 88-year-old mama said I had to fill it out, so I did.
Yeah.
I went online and filled it out. So now they know how many people are in my house. And so if they want to send anybody here, they know how old my mother is. They know how old I am. They figure, oh, he's going to be an easy take. So they'll just send 3 or 4 cops,
Yeah. I'm a white Mexican transvestite with 16 kids.
Pardon me. There's one thing I do want to talk about, John, before we get too far away, because it entails quite a bit, actually. Let's talk about that HB 5717 that they're trying to run through our Congress.
Yes.
It's got 14 gun laws in it.
Oh, yeah.
14 different gun laws. You want me to start, or do you?
Yeah, go ahead if you want. I got the whole thing up here. Go ahead and start it off. And
well, they said that they're doing this to end the epidemic of gun violence, when it's really gun confiscation. We all know that.
Yeah.
Now we have to have a federal gun license. You have to have a federal gun license to buy guns or ammo. No exceptions. You have to have. Now, I've got a concealed carry from Georgia. Well, I don't know if that's going to be good enough or not. But they say you have to apply for these things. You don't just go get them. You have to apply and go through a whole bunch of red tape to get them. And they're also putting in a 7-day waiting period mandatory nationwide for all gun sales. And you can only buy 1 gun in a 30-day period. You have to secure all guns. And all the guns have to be stored the exact same way in every home in America. They have to be made inoperable, and they have to have the ammo in a separate place from the gun. So if you need to get to your gun, somebody's breaking in your house, that means if you abide by the law, then you're going to have to run, get your gun out of this box. You're going to have to make it operable, and then you're going to have to run and get your rounds from another box. And by the time you advance on the threat, you're dead. I mean, that's plain and simple.
You know what this is over? Is they're getting scared to start going house to house. Yeah. And if they think this is going to change it, they're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, they're wanting our guns. This is all part of it. And this is a global cabal effort.
Yep, it is.
For depopulation, to take away our guns, to take away our Constitution, to put us under the hand of tyranny. And that's all they want. They want to run America down to a third world shithole country, like Trump said.
And they can't. And they know it. And Rob Call, you're right. You can't control an armed population.
That's right, brother.
You can ask Bobby. Him and I have been talking. And I keep saying, we are getting to a point even further than I ever thought we were, that when that shoe drops, nobody's going to be able to stop what's coming. And all these politicians that think they're so smart and going to run into their little holes, you better get comfy because you're never coming out.
That's right. I agree 100%. It's going to happen if it continues like it is. I pray that something will change that outcome, but my fear is that
we all do, Bobby.
But I'm prepared.
We all pray for a good ending. But you know what? They are pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and time's running out.
Oh, they also outlawed. A lot of people are making their own lowers, and through 3D printing and stuff like that out of polymers. And of course, they're not serial numbered. Well, now you can't make those anymore. Now, every black rifle that looks like it may be an assault weapon has to have a serial number.
Yep.
So that's going to end you making it at home yourself, again, if you abide by the law. I think a lot of these laws are going to just not be are going to be ignored. People are just going to ignore them and continue on their merry way. I know I will. I'll ignore these laws. If it comes to me, if this gets passed, I'm keeping my 9 by my bedside. I'm keeping my shotgun right here on the wall, and my carbine as well, and they're all loaded.
Yep. You know what? Listen, Connecticut tried this. They tried that crap with the assault weapons ban, and it didn't work out well for them. And I know that personally because I talked to cops that were involved with that, and it did not go as well as planned. They had over 350,000 people in the state had assault weapons. 11 turned in their guns. The rest of them gave the middle finger to Malloy. One guy went even further than that. He actually etched the governor's face into a side of a 30-round clip and mailed it to him personally. The Democrats that voted the bill in the middle of the night, somebody got the list and doxed all of them out to the public.
Sure.
The politicians' wives and kids were being harassed so bad that they couldn't even leave their houses. That's how you get stuff done.
And it's going to happen again.
Yes, it is. It's
going to happen again.
Listen, I keep saying, and it's not just the Democrats, it's Republicans too. The day is coming where they will never be able to walk down Main Street ever again.
I've said that for years about Hillary, but I have yet to see it. I pray the time is short, and it's going to be here soon. There's one thing I did want to bring up. They've added, because this bill has so much stuff in it. I'm just going to hit on it here and there as we talk. But this bill is aimed to force out mom and pop gun stores with expensive security upgrades. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars of security upgrades in order to have your store open. But here's the crazy part. They're imposing, if this passes, a 30% tax on all guns. Now, that's above your state sales tax. So if you have a 7 or 10% sales tax, you'll pay that like normal, but you'll also pay an extra 30% to purchase that gun. So you're going to be paying, I would be paying 37% of the purchase price for tax. And if it's ammo, you're taxed at 50%. So if I buy 100 rounds of ammo for $25, well, guess what? I'm going to be taxed 57% on that purchase. A $125 purchase is going to cost me almost $200 just in taxes and the way this is going to read. And you can only have one gun for 30 days.
Yeah.
And you got to wait 7 days.
Some states like New Jersey is looking at making you carry $1 million insurance policy on a gun. Other states have talked about an annual $250 tax on every rifle and $500 tax on every handgun, every individual one.
That you buy or that you own?
That you own. You're going to be taxed.
Oh, really?
Yes. These are some of the things they're looking at doing.
That is not going to go over well.
You can afford to keep a gun. And they're going to start dwindling the numbers down, and then they figure it'll take the rest of the people down. Silly them. silly them.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do, John. I know you got a couple more topics there. Bring us up on a new one, John.
Hang on. Let's see what else we got. We had the because I got pretty deep into the digging there after I found those patent numbers. You know, my question to you is why, after this is done, why isn't Bill Gates charged with every murder of every person that died from the coronavirus, seeing how his name's on the patent?
And now they're saying that he doesn't own the patent. I wonder how that came about.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's some business, some corporation I've never heard of. And then now they're giving you this false flag story about how it was made in Europe in 2014 and all that kind of stuff, and that Bill Gates had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you know what? I actually went on Bill Bright's site today, and his name is no longer on there.
Yeah.
How convenient.
Now they're expunging it, you know, so he, you know, people won't think bad of him, you know, even though he is evil and.
He is the devil, and I'll make sure everybody knows.
Yes.
He is an evil, evil person, and his, karma. Let's just put it that way.
And his wife's right there with him. His wife's right there with him.
Tam
But
J.
then go ahead.
Yes, they did move some military personnel to Cheyenne. That is one of the commands, isn't it, up there? Where is NOAD? Colorado? Or is
NORAD?
Yeah. NORAD.
Yeah.
Colorado.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, they are there. That's where they're at. They're at Cheyenne Mountain. I believe that is NORAD. I may be wrong on that, so correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in here, I'm sure, knows exactly where NORAD is. So if I'm wrong on that, correct me. But yeah, they're taking all of the elite. But I question this: if they're taking these commanders, they're not taking them all because somebody has to be in command, right?
Yeah.
Or are they in command from the bunkers?
It says right here, COVID-19 drives command teams charged with homeland defense into Cheyenne Mountain Bunker. And this is in the news. This is a separate one, too. Coronavirus drives Army command teams into infamous Cheyenne Mountain Bunker.
Wow. Now, what's so special about them?
Good question.
This makes no sense for people. I mean, I was in the...
Go ahead.
I've always, see. Yeah, Philip says NORAD should be shut down. Okay, Philip. Chinese anteater got the virus from a bat droppings, and ants were eating, which he was eating. Okay, yeah. It's chain of custody. Just pass it on. It goes from the bat to the ants, and then to the anteater. And it would surprise me if people in China don't eat anteaters. I don't even know if they have anteaters in China.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, NORAD's in Colorado Springs.
Okay, Colorado Springs. I know exactly where that's at.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what, people, if you're driving across I-70 out of Kansas and you're going into Colorado Springs is going to be one of the first towns you come to. And you're going to see the most beautiful sight you've ever seen coming across the flatlands of Kansas when you look ahead, miles ahead, and you can see the Rocky Mountains and Pikes Peak rising before you. It's a beautiful sight, people. It really is. So I recommend anybody go to Colorado, to Pikes Peak. It's a beautiful place. So they're up there in Colorado Springs now in a bunker.
Makes you wonder why.
Well, for their safety.
Well, when you got what's his name there coming out saying between 100,000 to 200,000 people are going to die from this. I mean, really, you can't figure up $100,000 people variance.
So that's quite a big gap. 100 to 200,000. I mean, that tells me that you have no idea.
Right.
I mean, if you've got 100,000 gap, then brother, your information is not very good. Now, I wouldn't take those odds to Vegas. You know what I mean? I wouldn't take those odds to Vegas.
No.
Yeah, you're right, Tam J. They're going to be commanding from there. I'm sure they will. They'll be commanding from via satellite.
Hang on. I forgot what country it was. That medical plane there that was used for the coronavirus. Oh, in the Philippines. A medical plane that was used for the coronavirus response in the Philippines catches fire and explodes. 1 American among 8 dead on board.
Explodes, huh?
Yeah, explodes.
Well, it had to be a fuel leak or something. Or at least that's what they're going to say.
Yeah, we'll never know. That's the problem, is they're lying to us so much it's to the point I don't believe any of them anymore.
Well, you can't, but I've always been told, believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. And because it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion.
The plane was taking off from the Philippines, heading to Japan when it caught fire during takeoff.
Well, if there weren't any prominent people on there, it was probably an accident.
Probably doctors.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably doctors heading down to Japan or heading to Japan to help. I don't know. Either way, it's crazy. But, there's a lot of that's still going on, They're taking down entire planes because of they need to get to one person.
Oh, Hillary's done that many times.
Huh.
It's nothing to take down a bunch of people to get the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a known fact. And I'll be honest with you about that devil, demon, witch, Hillary Rotten Clinton. She's a murderer, plain and simple. She's a pedophile and a pedivore. I'll call you out, Hillary Clinton, and I'll tell you to your face you are. Now, here's what I wish. I wished you would sue me. I wished you'd get me for libel. I wish you'd have me arrested. I wish you'd file a civil suit against me. That way I would have discovery and we'd all know the evil witch that you really are. That's why you won't sue me. That's why you won't sue anybody for saying that, because I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
If it weren't true, you'd sue.
One of the things there in that HR 5717 bill, I'm just chuckling to myself. It talks about straw purchasing. It shall be unlawful for any person to willfully use a valid federal or state firearm license to purchase a firearm or ammunition on behalf of another individual, regardless of whether the other individual had a valid federal or state firearm license. Well, that explains why Eric Holder was able to do it. He doesn't have a permit, so he's okay. So people, if you're going to do straw purchases, just don't have a permit. You'll be good.
Oh, got a question for you. Mark Miller said, did you guys hear of the massive explosion in Akure, Nigeria? Seems like a possible asteroid attack, but not confirmed. Wow, I have to check up on that because I'm really big on these asteroid hits.
And when was that?
Must have been today. When was it, Mark? When was this explosion? When did it take place? We got about 8 minutes left, and to be honest with you, I'm pretty much out of content right now. We went faster than I thought. So we can talk to the chat, or John, if you have something else, feel free to bring it up.
I want to get some feedback from the chat.
Okay, sounds great.
I'm curious about that Nigeria.
Yeah, Mark, please drop us a time on that, if you would, a time and a date.
Because I have a situation with that. I have a connection to a friend who's concerned about somebody there. And I'm not going to say any more than that. I knew this was coming.
Mark said it was a couple of days ago, and I've heard nothing about it. And I've been all over. I've probably went to 15 or 20 different search engines today, and I did not see that anywhere.
All right. Well, we'll do this. I'll look for it. If I find that it's been released, then I'll let you know what it was about. I can't say anything because I don't want to get this individual in trouble. But we have people there. Let's put it that way. And there's a reason for it.
So you don't think it was an asteroid?
No. And it has nothing to do with the arrest or the indictments. It's something totally different.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, keep us informed when you can.
Yeah, I'll wait till it's released on the news. So
said homes and properties were decimated. It happened on Saturday, Mark said. So it happened yesterday.
All right. Yeah, look at that. There's no talk of it whatsoever here. Mark, where did you find that, Mark?
We're not trying to get you to reveal your resources, but
right.
But yeah, if you could tell us where you found that, so maybe we can find it and we'll do some research on it ourselves, because that's interesting. trying to look at the chat and just to see what everybody's saying. Everybody got quiet on us there all of a sudden.
Well, this is kind of funny. All right, we're giving $10 billion to Africa and down in that area to fight the coronavirus. Here's an article. Banks and wealthy individuals contribute billions to fight coronavirus in Nigeria. Really? On top of the money we're giving them? How much money do you possibly need? That gives them more money for their people than we're spending on ours. Think about this.
Well, there's more of them, I guess. But there again.
All right. The Nigerian government has approved a $10 billion grant to fight the spread of the coronavirus. Wait a minute. We're giving them $10 billion. So what are we replacing the money they're using?
Oh, man, I'll tell you, it's so crazy and corrupt. You can't make heads or tails of it most of the time.
Oh, my God.
And you're right, Scarecrow, 1776. Yeah, Trump was impeached for delaying aid to Ukraine, but Congress gets a pay raise of $25,000 a year for delaying aid to law-abiding citizens.
Yeah. People, remember this. Remember everything that's happening now. Remember it. Remember it.
Rob Call said altogether they got $52 billion for Africa. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, it's a lot of money.
I'm telling you, we need to remember who's done this to all of us. Don't ever forget it. It wasn't your neighbor. It wasn't your friend. It wasn't your boss. All right? We need to remember who our enemies are. Don't ever forget it.
Don't leave us hanging.
Oh, no, because I'll go on a rant and I'll be getting a knock on the door.
I believe everybody here, all 10 of them, know exactly who the enemy is.
Some of Maduro's cronies were extradited. Good to hear.
Good. They must have been caught. Well, for $15 million on Maduro's head, I'll tell you what, I'm an old man. I don't have that much time left anyway. It'd almost make it worth my while to give it a shot. But I imagine he's pretty well protected.
TMJ, hang on. TMJ says her brother works in management at Boeing. They had meetings about the virus, but also about earthquakes and earth movement. Idaho Boeing shut down for earthquake damage. You know, remember a while back, Bobby, I told you about earthquakes in New York?
Yeah.
In a certain area in New York.
We've had them in Tennessee, Virginia, all over the place.
There's been an awful lot of earthquakes going on lately. There's something big going on underground.
Oh, yeah. But then again, Bible says that in the end times, I'm not saying this week or next year or 10 years from now, but in the end times, there'll be earthquakes in diverse places. So we can start to see a lot of things happening. We probably see a lot more volcanoes going off, a lot more earthquakes.
Yeah.
And let's just pray that we don't have a super volcano to erode.
Huh.
That would be the end of the world, of course.
I'm seeing if I can copy this stream that Mark Miller gave me there for that YouTube. I want to check into that. That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
That's right, Rob Call. They are communist Democrats. That's a fact. Mark Miller says start with the link he provided.
Yeah, that's what I just did.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Tam, you're right. I think there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes that we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That is going to be setting up a different place than we're used to here in America when it's all over. I think we'll have a different America. Things will really be changed profoundly, I believe.
Yes.
I really believe that.
I'm hoping for the better, but boy, I'll tell you what, the way they're pushing things right now. I mean, I know in my mind it's a last ditch effort because they're panicked. We know that. But boy, I'll tell you what, they are really hitting us, and they're hitting us hard. They really are.
Yeah.
So,
Luciano said Venezuelan general is extradited to U.S. Second general surrenders after U.S. puts bounty on leaders for criminal socialist Maduro regime.
beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, so you put a big bounty on those people's head, they're either going to get killed
Oh, yeah.
or give up.
Oh yeah, because people down there are starving. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, if somebody said to me there was a $10 million bounty on Pelosi, you don't think I'd invest in a plane ticket?
France sanctions that chloroquine
Yeah.
after 78 of 80 patients completely recovered from the COVID-19 virus within 5 days.
Yep. Crazy.
All right, my friends, it's 9 o'clock.
It's nuts.
American Joe's going live with his Bible study, so I'm going to back out of here in case y'all want to go see American Joe. I don't shout people out too much anymore, but he is coming on now, so I'm going to step out of his way and let him take the airways. John, I want to thank you so much for being here, as always.
Thank you.
Do you have any last burning desire?
Well, hopefully we were able to get some information out to the people and open their eyes a little bit.
Yep.
There's a lot going on, people. A lot. Get yourselves ready. Stay hunkered down. Stay healthy. Stay safe. For you people in Texas, I won't answer my door.
Oh, I got to say this before we go. Rob Call asked, "Where's Giuliani?" I haven't seen him lately.
Good question. Yeah.
But anyway, people, we love you. We'll be back Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Join us then. Friday night at 8 p.m. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Bible study, and Sunday night at 8 p.m. I want to thank y'all for your participation and for being here. John and I are happy to be here, and we work hard to get this information, and we're glad that y'all can hang with us. So we'll see y'all Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Until then, God bless, and everybody stay safe.
Yeah. Everybody be safe.
Call me if you want to. My number is easy to find.